Welcome back to the Commanders Declassified podcast. We just won a down to the wire, exciting game, 20-17 over the New England Patriots. Fellas, how are you? Eric, Mike, what's going on?
Good to be here after a win. November is here. It's time to start winning. So I'm glad it's here.
Mike, how are you?
Otherwise.
For today, I'm just going to enjoy the W. Just going to enjoy the W.
That's right. And Mike, let me start off with you. Initial just thoughts about this game. It could be offense, it could be defense, but what are your thoughts about this win here?
It's just one of those gritty November wins that you would hope your team could pull off, especially against a team that's struggling themselves. I mean, let's face it, the Patriots came in 2-6. It's not like we were much better, but we were the better team. I felt like turnovers are obviously the theme, well, not the theme, but the summary of this game. Turnovers really screwed us early on in the game. I know everybody's going to talk about that interception to end the half or how it was really ridiculous, but that's just what happens when you don't protect the ball and you cause problems for yourself. So props to them for pulling off the W, but they got to tighten things up, man. They have to.
Yeah, absolutely. Good that they won, but plenty to work on. Eric, we traded away 2 first-round defensive end this week, and everybody said it's tanking. What'd you think about the performance and the effort today?
It's hard to gauge. First of all, it's not tanking when you trade two players. It's not, in my opinion. You're just moving on. You got 2 guys that are going to be more than likely be gone or overpaid next year. So just get what you can and move on for them. I didn't hate the trades at all. I don't know how much difference those 2 guys would have made this weekend. Seeming that because sacks are penalties now. So, we could have had 5 roughing the passer calls. That's got to be the worst call of the year. That roughing the passer call on KJ Henry. Poor guy, was his first career sack. Did everything exactly right, and he gets just this nonsense penalty. But anyway, that's neither here. I'm sure we'll talk about that. The defense was fine. We were helped out immensely by just the bad offense of the Patriots. Mac Jones. You want to know what a team that doesn't have their guy looks like. You saw it today with the Patriots. He's not the guy. Can we get better? Can we do better than Sam Howell? Maybe, but I don't think he's not the problem with the offense anymore, in my opinion, outside of one throw in the first half, which seriously, any one of us could have made that throw. But, offensively or defensively, I thought, the team did what it was supposed to do against a bad offense. They held them in check, gave up one explosive play, and then, gave up one on a short field. But it is what it is. You deal with that. But overall, the defense was fine. And I don't think Chase Young or Montez Sweat was terribly missed today at all.
Yeah, I agree. The defense was much better today. The only explosive play that I really saw was that big 64-yard touchdown run to Ramondre Stevenson. Everything else they kept in front of them, and they made the Patriots earn everything that they got. They only gave up 17, and for most of the game, it wasn't until late, very late in that fourth quarter, where the Patriots finally went over 300 yards of total offense. They ended the day with 327. Usually we're letting people get 400 plus on us. So the defense really stepped up and held them in check, because we've had bad offenses and we've given them the free reign to just score at will. So I was very happy to see that they played better. Mike, Sam Howell, there was a lot of talk this week. Bill Belicheck, young quarterbacks, he just is ruthless on them, and he will make them look silly. What did you think about his performance today?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I fell for the bait. I was one of those folks that was harping on Howell and then going up against Belichick and his history against younger quarterbacks. After I was talking all that trash this week, I looked up Mahomes' stats versus Belichick in his career. His first game, he did kind of well versus the Patriots. I think he had kind of similar stats to what Howell had today. Now they'll go and say, "You saying that Mahomes and Howell?" No, I'm not saying that. Dad.
Oh, it's already
I'm
out
just,
there. They
I'm
already
just
put it out there.
referencing. I'm just using it as a reference, man. But nonetheless, about Howell, I like it. Like you can't. Is he perfect? No, he's not perfect. Like no quarterback is, maybe except for prime Aaron Rodgers. But anyway, um, like he's going to have his ups and downs. Like we saw it today. Again, the interception was really dumb. But like when it happened, I said that I feel like it was a fluke play, honestly, like a rookie mistake. Like I really don't know what he was looking at. I can't wait to hear what he says about that interception. And it's easier to swallow pause when when you win the game. So he got the W, so we can discuss it, but feel good about during the discussion.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And Eric, same question. We heard all about Bill Belichick and the defense and what they were going to do to try to confuse Hal. And of course, our game plan's always the same: throw it till the QB's arm falls off. So, what'd you think of Sam Howell's performance today?
Yeah, it was not his best, not his worst, far from his worst performance. Like I
Oh
said,
yeah,
outside of that's probably the worst throw he's made all season was that one. But
yeah,
other than that, I mean, and the sad part about that interception is that it capped off. I mean, it took the heat off of a really great drive that he put together because he made some clutch throws.
he did.
And the big stat that I liked, actually, I should have the stat in front of me before I start quoting stats. But Sam on third down was money today,
I got it.
and he was just throwing dimes on third down. Him and Pringle had a little thing going on. And they looked really in sync. He made a very bad decision, in my opinion, on that first one where he just kind of lobbed the ball up in the middle of the field across his body, but Pringle was there to run under it. So whatever, you're not going to win a lot of games doing that. So hopefully that's a learning moment watching film. But overall, Sam, he put up the numbers. He had the one bad pick. He had a dropped touchdown pass by De'Ami Brown just prior to that interception.
Yep.
But and especially the fact that the referees, and this isn't a knock, there's a lot to knock on the refs, but this isn't one. The refs were not interested in calling pass interference at all today because both sides, they were just grabbing they were all over each other. And I can't even complain about it because we got away with a bunch too. But we had the one deep shot to Jahan Dotson where the defensive back literally had his wrist and was not letting go of it.
Yeah.
I understand the grabbing is going to happen when you're looking for the ball, but when you got a hole and you're impeding the guy, it doesn't happen. And then, there's the screenshot of like the guy pulling Logan Thomas's jersey on the way to the back of the end zone. But again, St. Just and Kendall Fuller and Forbes, they were really handsy today too. And the rest, if you're going to make bad calls, do it fairly. And they did it in the case of pass interference, they did it. So it's not a big deal. But in spite of that, Sam Howell still had a really solid passing game outside of one bad mistake. So I'm completely fine with his performance today. And the other thing is the sacks, right? Like I just happened to look up and they got him with 4 sacks. And I was trying to figure out, like, I know one, he had 2 that were coverage sacks. He had one where he slid just shy of the line of scrimmage. So they counted that as a sack. And I'm thinking the third one, I don't know if it's going to hold up because I think it's the one where it was the high snap that he faked to Robinson and the guys were right in his face. I thought that was a rush attempt.
Yeah.
I thought that was a rush attempt. I didn't think that was but who knows? But anyway, the sacks that he took today weren't like the sacks that he was taking earlier in the season. They're still sacks, but I mean, they weren't like him holding the ball for 5 seconds and then getting hit. These are guys right in his face. The second one on Howell was a coverage sack because everybody was blanketed. It was third down. He was trying to hold out and make something happen. Yeah, that's a sack that you end up taking. You're going to punt anyway, and you didn't turn it over, so whatever.
Yeah, and to your point that you pointed out on third down, here's the actual stat that they played during the game there. Sam Howell was 7 of 10 for 108 yards with 6 first downs, and that does not include the 3rd and 23 where he ran it for 24 yards to pick up.
That was crazy.
That was an exceptional play. But yeah, this was for me and his performance today, I thought this was one of his better games in terms of you've got to be patient against a Bill Belichick defense because he Bill Belichick makes a living on you making the mistake. He knows that the other team is undisciplined, that the other team's going to make their mistakes, and he'll wait and he'll confuse you until you make those mistakes. And we did. And at the end of that first half, right, Sam got greedy. I almost feel like he just was like, yes, I'm so close. I'm going to get this touchdown. And he threw it and they picked it off. And that is what Bill Belichick lives for. He lives for you to make those mistakes, you to lose the game. And they just sit back and they'll feast on those mistakes because they threw a touchdown right off of it, right, and scored. So this is something that I was impressed with him being able to just be patient. Did he get greedy on that one? Absolutely. But to start the second half, that throw to Terry on the sideline was a great route by Terry, great catch, and then the other one where Terry ran for like 36 yards after the catch. Those were two big throws for him. So I thought he had a pretty strong day. Mike, defensively, anything stand out to you about this game? We only gave up 17 points today.
I don't mean to be like super picky.
Oh yeah,
but
go for it.
They didn't generate enough pressure for my liking, especially versus a quarterback that's not that mobile. I know he got the ball out quick and whatnot, but still feel like there were opportunities. It did suck that the few times they did get to him, well, one of the few times they got into him was called back for, like you said, a really ridiculous roughing the passer penalty. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty much the same that has been throughout the season. Secondaries up and down. Linebackers are definitely a target at this point. Just for fantasy reasons, if you have a tight end problem, start them against whoever's playing the Washington football team. Just start them, please, because they're going to get something. Might not get a lot, but they're going to at least get something. But yeah, like outside of that, it's not really too much to talk about. But shout out to Quan Martin for sealing the game with the interception. And Forbes kind of had a decent game himself.
Yeah,
I feel like I really don't mean to be picky, but against a better quarterback, he may have been in some trouble today. So he still has some growing to do. But I'll take the dub and the good performances from our first two picks of the 2023 draft.
I like it. Eric, what'd you think about Bieniemy's plan here? Again, more throwing, and also Del Rio just kind of sat back in a lot. He a couple of times brought pressure, but what do you think about our defensive coordinator and our offensive coordinator, their game plan, their approach to these games?
Yeah, I mean that's you're seeing it now with Bieniemy. It's just his identity. He's going to throw it. He's going to be 75-25 throwing it. It's just what you're going to have to deal with. Yeah. I do like that he's excuse me in the last couple of weeks implemented the quick passing game much more effectively than he's done. He's not doing the deep drops, just so that defenses can tee off on Sam Howell, and the protection's gotten better. And I think the play calling has a lot to do with that as well. So you're just going to have to see it, and that's kind of an Andy Reid thing too. He's going to throw it more than he runs it, and it's something you got to live with. I thought, Andy Reid obviously was better with the quick game and the swing pass type stuff than Bieniemy was early on, but Bieniemy seems to have adapted, and it's helping Sam Howell out tremendously. So that's a really good job. Del Rio, on the other hand, his identity, it's hard to say, but I think what he's, the lack of blitzing, in my opinion, has a lot to do with the lack of talent at linebacker. Jamin Davis can be a decent pass rusher if you let him. But, if you're rushing Jamin Davis, not that he's great at it, but he's the only one. He's clearly the best coverage linebacker they have. And that is not saying very much because, the other guys that are out there, Mayo and Khalil Hudson and that bum that was out there that got hurt a couple of weeks ago all season. I don't even want to know his name. They've just been terrible in coverage all season. And Jamin had he got beat a couple times a day. He had a nice pass breakup, mostly due to a bad pass, but whatever. But I think, Del Rio's philosophy is, he's going to struggle now because I think, he had a little something going with the 5-man front and playing the two linebackers and the switchblade guys and all that stuff. But now that you lost those 2 bookend edge rushers, how are you going to adapt to that and start bringing defensive backs? Is Cam Curl going to start blitzing more? Are you going to start sending Kendall Fuller, who throughout his career has been a good blitzer? So that's not something to be ashamed of. I think Percy Butler, I don't know if you could coach him up to do that. He's got the speed and the athleticism to really get up there and blitz. Quan Martin's another guy that can probably, if you coach him up to do it, it's just their capacity to learn. I don't know what that is, but those are guys that could be effective blitzers. But yeah, I think Del Rio is going to have to get a lot more creative down the stretch, because he can't just rely on that defensive front for the rest of the season, because it's, now it's just the 2 studs and the role players as opposed to 4 studs and role players. So we'll see how he adapts. Again, it was not a good offense that we played against today, so it was an okay strategy. Obviously, it worked enough to win.
Yeah, I agree. I think their game plan was okay for the opponent. I think more is needed from both of these guys, and hopefully they get more creative as we move on. Just to give everybody a couple of stats here. Sam Howell, 29 of 45, 325 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and I only see 3 sacks on here. He did have 5 carries for 27 yards. Brian Robinson, 18 carries, 63 yards, the 1 touchdown, and he did have 1 fumble. It was a really nice punch out by the New England defender. Got it cleanly and just knocked it out. Terry McLaurin, 5 catches, 73 yards. John Dotson, 4 catches, 69 yards with a touchdown. And then 2 guys who had, the stats aren't that great, but I thought they made big plays. Byron Pringle, only 3 catches, 55 yards, but it seems like every time he caught the ball, it was for a big first down. And then Antonio Gibson, 5 catches, 42 yards. He had some that were just 3-yard checkdowns and then turned them into 6-7-yard first downs. So those were really important catches to kind of help out the quarterback and keep that offense moving. And there was a De'Ami Brown sighting as well too. He had 2 catches, 33 yards, but Eric, like you mentioned, he had that perfectly thrown ball to him in the corner of the end zone. If he should have brought that in. Mike, we're now 4-5. What are your final thoughts about this game and where this team can go? Are they tanking? Are they not tanking? What's going on? What are you thinking?
No, I never felt like they were tanking. Like, I never, even after the trade, I think it was silly to believe that they were even thinking about tanking. Like, it is what it is. Like I said in my article I wrote this morning, tough teams make these, winning teams make these tough decisions. Sweat and Young were not coming back to DC next season. Like, I can't believe y'all were talking all this time about, oh, you can't sign all 4 of them back. You can't sign all 4 of them back. They trade 2 and everybody like, oh my goodness, I can't trade. Y'all been saying this for 4 seasons. What are you... So, like I said, I'm taking the dub today. I enjoy the win. We can discuss everything else on Wednesday, but hell to the Commanders, man. I'm happy. No tank here. Let's go.
That's right. Take the dub. Eric, final thoughts on the game you saw today and the rest of the year?
Yeah, fun game to watch. The rest of the year, I've been saying it for a couple of weeks now. November is going to be a happy time for us. We'll be back in the swing of it. We'll be back in the mix by December 1st. Just go back and look at the history of this team under Ron Rivera. What happens in November? I don't see it shaking out any different. The schedule, isn't easy, but it's it's winnable games. With the Giants and the Dolphins, who the Dolphins have the Dolphins have their problems. They feast on bad teams. As weird as this sounds, I still don't consider the Commanders a bad team. They're definitely a team that plays to the ability of his opponent, and I think that can give the Dolphins problems. And then Dallas on Thanksgiving, whenever it's a division game, anything can happen. It's not a guaranteed dub. It's not a likely dub, but it could happen. And I still say we go 3-1 in November. We're already there. So 2-1 in the next 3 weeks. We go into December 6-6. And then probably fall off a cliff. But November's going to look good. Fun win today. Looking forward to the Giants. It's the Giants next week, I believe. And yeah, looking forward to that. And I think that's a dub too. And let's roll with it.
I agree with both of you guys. There is still lots for this team to fix, lots for them to work on. But today was a day that in years past we lose this game. Even earlier in the season, we probably lose this game. But for them to make the adjustments after two huge trades, coming in here and putting the Patriots away is a first step. They've got to continue it. They've got to beat, the next week's opponents and the week after and the week after. Otherwise, this doesn't mean too much. So, good win. I like it. They got a lot more work to do moving forward because the opponents only get better from here. We'll see everybody Tuesday, Wednesday night for the deep dive, and hail to the Commanders.
That still sounds weird, and I will never say it. But
it doesn't quite roll off the tongue.
It just sounds terrible.
You're singing it. All right, everybody.
I'm used to it. Peace.